She was halfway out the door when his voice stopped her cold. "Where are you going dressed like that?" She turned to face her boss, Korea's most dangerous crime lord, standing in the hallway with an expression she'd never seen before. Anger, but not the kind she expected. He wasn't angry about her leaving. He was angry about the dress, the makeup, the fact that she looked beautiful, and what he did next changed everything between them forever. Aluchi Namdi had been working for Park Jae-won for 8 months, and in all that time, he'd barely looked at her twice. She was his housekeeper, invisible, efficient, exactly what a good domestic worker should be. She cleaned his penthouse in Gangnam, prepared his meals when his chef was off, and maintained the kind of discretion that working for a crime boss required. She wore the same thing every day: plain black pants, white button-down shirt, her natural hair pulled back in a simple bun. No makeup, no jewelry except her mother's small cross necklace. Nothing that drew attention. That's how Aluchi preferred it. She'd come to Seoul from Lagos 18 months ago to escape an abusive ex-boyfriend who'd nearly killed her. She'd chosen Korea specifically because it was far enough away that he'd never find her. She'd rebuilt her life carefully, quietly, becoming invisible by design. But tonight was different. Tonight was her best friend Amara's birthday party at a club in Itaewon. Amara, who'd helped Aluchi get the job with Park Jae-won through family connections. Amara, who'd been begging her for months to stop hiding, to live again, to remember she was only 27 and deserved to have fun. "You can't wear your work clothes to a club," Amara had insisted, dragging Aluchi shopping last weekend. "Just this once, let yourself be beautiful, let yourself be seen." So Aluchi had bought a dress. Nothing too revealing. She still had scars from her ex that she preferred to keep covered, but form-fitting, deep blue, falling just above her knees. She'd done her makeup carefully, highlighting her dark brown skin, her eyes, her full lips. She'd taken down her braids and let them fall freely around her shoulders. When she looked in the mirror in her small apartment, she barely recognized herself. This was the woman she used to be, before fear had made her small and invisible. She'd returned to the penthouse to drop off the groceries she'd picked up before heading to the party. Jae-won wasn't supposed to be home. He had a business meeting that typically ran late. She was just going to slip in, put away the food, and leave. But he was home early, standing in the hallway between her and the door, staring at her like he'd never seen her before. "Where are you going dressed like that?" His voice was low, dangerous. Aluchi's first instinct was fear. She'd heard that tone before, from her ex, right before... No, Jae-won wasn't him. Jae-won had never been anything but professional with her. "I have the evening off, sir. I'm going to a friend's birthday party. I dropped off the groceries. Everything is put away. I'll be back tomorrow morning for my regular shift." Dressed like that? He moved closer, and she saw his hands were clenched into fists. "It's appropriate for a club, sir. I'm sorry if it offends you. I can go home and change." "Offends me?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Aluchi, you've worked for me for 8 months. 8 months of hiding behind plain clothes and pulled back hair. And now you're going out, looking like..." He gestured at her, seeming unable to finish the sentence. "Do you know what men are going to think when they see you? That I'm a woman at a club?" She was getting angry now, pushing past the fear. "Sir, with all due respect, what I wear on my own time is my business. I've done my work. I'm leaving now." She tried to move past him, but he blocked her path. "Which club? In Itaewon?" "Yes, Octagon. Amara reserved a table for..." "You're not going." Aluchi stared at him. "Excuse me?" "I said you're not going, not to Octagon, not dressed like that." His jaw was tight, his eyes dark with something she couldn't quite read. "You can't tell me where I can and cannot go on my personal time. I'm your employee, not your property." Her voice was shaking now, but with anger rather than fear. "I'm leaving. I'll see you tomorrow." She pushed past him toward the door. His hand shot out and caught her wrist, not painfully, but firmly. "Aluchi, wait." She yanked her hand away, years of self-defense training from post-breakup therapy kicking in. "Don't touch me. Don't ever touch me without permission." Something in his expression cracked. He stepped back immediately, hands up. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. They stood there in tense silence. Alucci could see the war happening behind his eyes, but she was too angry and confused to care. Why do you care where I go or what I wear? You barely notice me most days. I'm just the maid. Why does it suddenly matter? Because he stopped, running his hand through his hair in frustration. Because you don't understand. Octagon isn't safe, not for women alone, not in Itaewon. There are people there, my people in rival organizations, and if they see you're connected to me, no one knows I work for you. I'm careful. I never mention my employer. Amara knows, and Amara's family has connections. Someone will make the connection eventually. His voice was urgent now. And when they do, when they realize you work for me, you become a target for information, for leverage, for... He stopped again, seeming to struggle with his words. For what exactly? I'm just a maid. I don't know anything about your business. I clean your apartment and cook your meals, and that's it. You're living in my building. You have access to my home, to me. He was closer again, his voice dropping. In my world, that makes you valuable, makes you vulnerable, and I can't... He stopped again, seeming to struggle with his words. I can't let you put yourself at risk like that. Why do you care? The question came out softer than she intended. I'm nobody, just a woman who cleans your house. You're not nobody. The intensity in his voice made her breath catch. And you're not just a maid. You're... He looked at her standing there in her blue dress, her natural beauty finally visible instead of hidden, and something in his expression shifted to something raw, almost painful. Do you really not know? Have I been that good at hiding it? Hiding what? That I notice you every day, every moment you're here, the way you hum while you cook, the way you arrange flowers in the vase because you think they look sad otherwise, the way you smile at the stray cat on the balcony when you think no one's watching. He took a breath. You're not invisible to me, Alucci. You never have been. Before we continue with this explosive confrontation, I need to know where you're watching from. Lagos, Seoul, Abuja, New York, London. Drop your city in the comments because this story about seeing and being seen is reaching people everywhere. Have you ever been invisible to someone who then suddenly noticed you? Let me know. If you're new here, welcome to the channel where we explore what happens when people finally stop hiding. Alucci didn't know what to say, couldn't process what he was telling her. Jaewon, Park Jaewon, one of Seoul's most feared men, had been noticing her, had been seeing her when she thought she was invisible. I don't understand, she finally said. You've never said anything, never acted like... Because you're my employee, because there's a power dynamic that makes any approach inappropriate, because you deserve better than a man like me. His voice was rough with emotion he wasn't bothering to hide anymore. But watching you walk out that door looking like that, going to a club where other men will see you, will approach you, will... He stopped, hands clenched again. Will what? Ask me to dance? Buy me a drink? Treat me like an attractive woman instead of invisible help? Is that so terrible? Yes, the word came out fierce. Because they'll see what I see, and they'll want what I want, and I'll have to stand here knowing I have no right to stop it, no claim on you, no... He turned away, pressing his palms against the wall. I'm making this worse. I'm sorry. Go to your party. I have no right to stop you. Just be careful, please. Alucci should leave, should go to Amara's party, should pretend this conversation never happened, and return to the safety of invisibility. But instead, she heard herself ask, "What do you see when you look at me?" He turned back, and the expression on his face made her heart race. I see a woman who's been hurt before, who's hiding from something or someone, who's made herself small and quiet because it feels safer. That way. His voice softened. But I also see someone brave, someone who left everything familiar to start over in a foreign country, someone who learns Korean by watching dramas and reading newspapers, someone who sends most of her salary home to her family in Lagos, but still saves enough to take online university courses. How do you know about the courses? Because I pay attention. Because I wanted to know everything about you, but couldn't ask without making things weird. He smiled slightly. Apparently, I made things weird anyway. You did. But Alucci was smiling too, despite everything. So all this time, when I thought you barely noticed me, I noticed everything. The way you take your tea with milk and 2 sugars, the way you avoid eating meat on Fridays because your grandmother taught you that, the way you call your mother every Sunday morning and speak in rapid Igbo that I can't understand but love listening to anyway. He took a step closer. I notice you, Alucci. Too much. It's becoming a problem. What kind of problem? The kind where I can't focus on business meetings because I'm wondering what you're doing, where I come home early hoping to catch a glimpse of you before you leave, where I find excuses to be in rooms you're cleaning just to be near you. Another step closer. Where I see you dressed like this and want to do extremely inappropriate things. Like what? Her voice was barely a whisper. Like tell you that dress should be illegal because it's going to cause accidents. Like demand you stay here with me instead of going out. Like, he stopped himself. Like things your employer has no business thinking about his employee. What if I'm not thinking of you as my employer right now? The air between them felt electric, dangerous. Alucci knew she should step back, should maintain boundaries, should remember all the reasons this was complicated. But she'd spent 8 months being invisible, 8 months before that rebuilding herself from the broken pieces her ex had left, 2 years of being small and scared and alone. And here was a man, dangerous, powerful, complicated, telling her he'd seen her all along, had noticed her, had wanted her. Alucci. Her name on his lips sounded like a prayer. If you don't leave now, if you stay here looking at me like that, I'm going to do something we might regret. What if I want you to? You don't know what you're saying. You don't know who I am, what I've done. I know enough. I know you run an organization that operates in gray areas. I know people fear you. I know you have enemies and complicated loyalties. She took a step toward him. I also know you've never been anything but respectful to me, never made me feel unsafe, never took advantage of the power dynamic. You could have, but you didn't. That's a pretty low bar. It's higher than you think. My ex, she stopped, the memories threatening to surface. Let's just say I know the difference between a man who respects boundaries and one who doesn't. You respect mine. Even now, when you want something from me, you're not taking it. You're waiting for permission. I'll always wait for permission. Always. His voice was absolute. Alucci, I need you to understand something. My world is dangerous. Being with me, being seen with me, it makes you a target. I've been trying to protect you by keeping distance, but if we do this, if we cross this line, I can't uncross it. You become mine to protect, mine to worry about, mine. The possessiveness in his voice should have scared her. Instead, it made something warm unfurl in her chest. After 2 years of being alone, of having no one claim her or care where she was or what she was doing, the idea of belonging to someone, of mattering that much to someone, was intoxicating. And what do you become if I become yours? Yours, completely, irreversibly. He reached up slowly, giving her time to move away, and tucked a braid behind her ear. I don't do anything halfway, Alucci. If we do this, I'm all in. Are you ready for that? She thought about Amara's party, about dancing with strangers, about going back to her small apartment alone afterward, about another night of being independent and safe and lonely. Then she thought about the way Jaewon was looking at her, like she was precious, like she mattered, like she was seen. I'm ready, she whispered, but I need to text Amara, tell her I'm not coming. You don't have to skip the party. I don't want to go to the party anymore. I want to stay here, with you, if that's okay. The smile that broke across his face was like sunrise. That's more than okay. As she pulled out her phone to text Amara, Jaewon went to his bar and poured 2 glasses of wine. When she finished, he handed her one. To crossing lines, he said, raising his glass. To being seen, she countered. They drank, and the air between them shifted from tense to anticipatory. Alucci had never been more aware of her body, of the dress she was wearing, of the way Jaewon was looking at her like she was something worth savoring. So, she said, trying to sound casual and failing completely, what happens now? Now I take you to dinner, somewhere nice, somewhere public where I can show you off like you deserve. His voice was warm. And then we talk, really talk, about who we are, what we want, what this could be. And if after all that talking you still want to be here with me, I'm going to kiss you goodnight like a gentleman and watch you walk back to your apartment. And tomorrow we figure out what this means for us. Deal? Deal. She was smiling so widely her face hurt. But Jaewon, for the record, I'm hoping I still want to be here after dinner. Me too, Aluchi. Me too. Jaewon took her to a private restaurant in Cheongdam-dong, the kind of place that didn't advertise and only catered to people who could afford not to ask about prices. Aluchi felt out of place in her club dress among the elegant diners, but Jaewon looked at her like she was the most beautiful woman in the room. Over dinner, they talked, really talked, for the first time without the barriers of employer and employee between them. Tell me about Lagos, about your family. So Aluchi told him about growing up in Sudolere, about her mother who sold fabrics in the market, about her 3 younger siblings who are all in university now thanks to the money she sent home, about her degree in business administration that she'd finished just before leaving Nigeria. Why did you leave? He asked gently. It's clear you love your family, your city. What made you come here? She hesitated, the memories still painful, but if we were doing this, if we were crossing this line, he deserved the truth. I was engaged to a man I thought loved me. She took a breath. He became violent, started small, controlling what I wore, who I saw, then it escalated. One night she touched her side where scars still marked her skin. He put me in the hospital, broken ribs, internal bleeding. I almost died. Jaewon's expression went very still, very dangerous. Where is he now? Lagos, last I heard. I got a restraining order, but he has connections, police connections, money connections. I didn't feel safe staying in Nigeria. She met his eyes. So I came here, changed my name legally, Oluchi Namdi instead of my original surname, started over where he couldn't find me. Oluchi, He reached across the table and took her hand. I'm sorry that you went through that you had to leave your home to feel safe. It was the right choice. I've healed here, physically and emotionally. She smiled slightly. I also became very good at being invisible, at not attracting attention, at keeping men at a distance. It felt safer that way. And tonight, the dress, the party? My friend Amara has been pushing me to live again, to stop hiding. Tonight was supposed to be a test. Could I go out, be seen, be normal again without panicking? She laughed softly. I didn't expect my boss to be standing between me and the door, looking at me like you wanted to devour me, like you were angry someone else might see me, like you were jealous. I was jealous, am jealous. The thought of you in that club with other men, his grip on her hand tightened. I know I have no right, but the jealousy was eating me alive. You have a right now, if you want it, if this is what I think it is. And what do you think this is? The beginning of something real. Something that probably shouldn't work, but might anyway. She turned her hand over in his, lacing their fingers together. Tell me about you, about your world, the real story, not the rumors. So Jaewon told her about inheriting his father's organization at 23 when his father was killed by rivals, about spending a decade consolidating power, eliminating threats, building something stable, about the violence he'd committed, the gray areas he operated in, the blood on his hands. I'm not a good man, Oluchi. I've done things I'm not proud of, things I can't undo, things that would make you run if you knew all the details. But I'm trying to be better, slowly transitioning to legitimate business. It takes time. You can't just abandon an organization overnight without creating chaos, but I'm working on it. He looked at her intently. I want to build something clean, something I could be proud of, something that wouldn't make a woman like you ashamed to be with me. I'm not ashamed. I see who you are now, who you're trying to become. That matters more than who you were. You're too good for me. Stop saying that. Let me decide what I deserve. She squeezed his hand. Jaewon, I like you. I think I've liked you for months, but was too scared to admit it. You've been kind when you could have been cruel, patient when you could have been demanding. You've seen me when I was trying to be invisible. That means something. He brought her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles gently. Then let's try this, but slowly. I want to do this right, court you properly. No rushing, no pressure. Just us, figuring this out together. I'd like that. They finished dinner talking about lighter things, favorite movies, music, the ridiculous dramas they both secretly watched. By the time they left, Oluchi felt like she'd known him for years instead of just really meeting him tonight. He drove her home himself, no driver, just them in his car. When they reached her apartment building, he walked her to her door like he'd promised. "This is good night," he said, standing in her doorway, "even though I don't want it to be." "Me either, but you're right. Slow is good, slow is smart. Can I see you tomorrow? Not as your employer, as this, whatever this is." "Yes, but I'm still coming to work, still doing my job." "Oh, Lucci, you don't have to. I need to, for me. I need to maintain something normal while we figure this out, and I'm good at my job. I like taking care of your home. Let me keep doing that." "Okay, but you're getting a raise, a significant one. You were already underpaid before I had feelings for you. Now you're definitely underpaid. Accept it gracefully." She laughed. "Fine, but you're not allowed to buy me expensive things just because you can. Deal?" "I make no promises, but I'll try to restrain myself." He reached up and cupped her face gently. "May I kiss you goodnight? Just once?" "Yes." The kiss was soft, reverent, nothing like the hungry desperation from earlier. It was a promise, a beginning. When they broke apart, both were smiling. "Good night, Oluchi." "Good night, Jaewon." She watched him walk back to his car, and for the first time in 2 years, she felt like maybe, just maybe, she could have something good again. If you're feeling this story, if you're rooting for Oluchi and Jaewon, hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens next will test their new relationship in ways neither expected. Drop a comment. Have you ever hidden yourself to feel safe? Have you ever had someone see you when you thought you were invisible? Let me know your thoughts. The next few months were complicated and wonderful in equal measure. Oluchi continued working for Jaewon during the day, cleaning, cooking, maintaining the professional boundaries that felt safer in daylight. But in the evenings, when the sun set and the penthouse became just a home rather than a workplace, they were something else, something new. They took it slowly like he'd promised. Dates at quiet restaurants, walks along the Han River, movie nights on his couch where they'd fall asleep tangled together watching terrible action films. He introduced him to Korean culture, taught him about hansik and traditional ceremonies. She introduced him to Nigerian music and food, teaching him how to make jollof rice and laughing when he burned it spectacularly. "I run a criminal organization, but I can't cook rice?" he said ruefully, staring at the scorched pot. "That's why you hired me. Clearly you needed help." "I hired you because you were the only applicant who didn't seem terrified of me. The cooking was a bonus." They learned each other's rhythms, preferences, boundaries. He learned that sudden movements near her face made her flinch, a remnant of her ex. She learned that he had nightmares about his father's death that left him gasping awake at 3 a.m. They held each other through the difficult moments, building trust piece by piece. But keeping it secret became harder. Amara suspected immediately. "You skipped my birthday party, you who never breaks plans, and then suddenly you're glowing and happy and mysterious?" Amara cornered her at a cafe. "Spill." "I'm seeing someone." "Who?" "It's complicated. He's my employer." Amara's eyes widened. "Park Jaewon? You're dating Park Jaewon?" "We're taking it slow, seeing where it goes. And Amara, you can't tell anyone yet, not yet. It's too new, too fragile." "Girl, that man is dangerous, like actually dangerous. Are you sure about this?" "No, but I want to try anyway." Oluchi smiled. "He makes me feel safe, seen, like I matter. That's worth the risk." The real test came 3 months in, when Jaewon's business world collided with their relationship. He'd been negotiating with a rival organization about territory, a tense situation that had everyone on edge. The meeting was supposed to be at neutral ground, but the rival boss suggested Jaewon's home instead. "Show of good faith," the man had said. "Prove you're not afraid." Jaewon agreed before thinking about the implications, before remembering that Oluchi would be there, working, visible. The rival boss arrived with his team, and the moment he saw Oluchi serving tea, his eyes lingered too long. "Who's this beautiful woman?" he asked in Korean, assuming she wouldn't understand. "My housekeeper." Jaewon replied coolly. Just a housekeeper? She's stunning. African? Nigerian, and not your concern. Jaewon's voice had gone cold, dangerous. Touchy. Maybe she's more than just a housekeeper? The man laughed. Be careful, Park. Mixing business and pleasure is dangerous. Aluchi felt the tension in the room spike. She finished serving and moved to leave, but the rival boss spoke directly to her in English. You speak Korean, beautiful, or just English? Both, Aluchi said, keeping her voice neutral. Excuse me, I have work to finish. Wait, what's your name? Jaewon stood. The meeting's over. You got your answer about the territory. It's a no. Now leave. Touching a nerve. Interesting. The rival boss stood slowly. Beautiful woman, protective boss. How much would someone pay for information about Park Jaewon's personal life, I wonder? 3 of Jaewon's security materialized from nowhere, positioning themselves strategically. The atmosphere had gone from tense to lethal in seconds. You will leave my home, Jaewon said quietly. You will forget you saw anyone here, and if I hear my household staff mentioned anywhere, by anyone, I will consider it a declaration of war. Are we clear? The rival boss looked between Jaewon and Aluchi, calculation evident in his eyes, but he was smart enough to recognize genuine threat when he saw one. Crystal, my apologies for any offense. He bowed slightly and left with his team. After they left, Aluchi found Jaewon in his office, his hands braced on his desk, his shoulders tense. I'm sorry, he said without looking up. I should have sent you away before they arrived, should have protected you better. I'm fine. He didn't do anything except look. He saw you. He knows you exist. That makes you vulnerable. Then protect me. Isn't that what you do? Protect what's yours? You're not property to protect. You're a person who deserves better than this life. Stop telling me what I deserve. I'm choosing this, choosing you, choosing us. She moved to him, taking his face in her hands. I know the risks. I'm not naive. But Jaewon, I'm also not helpless. I survived my ex. I survived starting over in a foreign country. I can survive your world if you're beside me. If anything happened to you because of me, then we deal with it together. But you don't get to push me away to keep me safe. That's not how partnerships work. He pulled her close, holding her like she might disappear. You're too brave for your own good, says the man who runs a criminal organization. Former criminal organization. I'm transitioning to legitimate business, remember? How's that going? Slower than I'd like, but faster than before. Turns out having something worth being good for is highly motivating. She kissed him softly. We'll figure this out, together. What followed was controlled violence. Jaewon's team neutralized the rival's men with brutal efficiency. Within 3 minutes, the rival boss was on his knees, Jaewon's gun pressed to his temple. You touched her, threatened her. That was your last mistake. Wait, we can negotiate. I'll give you anything. There's nothing you have that I want, except your promise that you and your organization will never operate in Seoul again. You're done, retired, effective immediately. If I see you, hear your name, even think you're still in the city, I will end you. Are we clear? The man nodded frantically. Clear, perfectly clear. Jaewon let him go, and the rival scrambled away like the coward he was. Then Jaewon was at Aluchi's side, cutting her bonds, checking her for injuries. Are you hurt? Did they hurt you? I'm okay. Shaken, but okay. She threw her arms around his neck as soon as she was free. You came for me. Always, always, Aluchi. I will always come for you. He pulled back to look at her face, his hands shaking as they touched her cheeks, her hair, assuring himself she was really unharmed. This is my fault. You should have what? Locked me away? Pushed me out of your life? That's not living. That's existing in fear. She kissed him, hard and desperate. Take me home and hold me, and let's forget this happened. The police will need statements. Your people can handle it, please. I just need you right now. He carried her to his car, refusing to let her walk even though she was capable, drove them back to the penthouse, ran her a bath, and sat beside it fully clothed, holding her hand the entire time. I'm quitting, he said suddenly. The organization, all of it. I'm walking away completely. This ends now. Jaewon, I can't do this anymore. Can't put you at risk. Can't live knowing that being with me makes you a target. His voice broke. I love you too much to keep doing this. Oluchi sat up in the bath, water streaming down her. You love me? God, yes, desperately, completely. I've been trying not to say it, trying not to make this harder, but yes, I love you, Oluchi, which is why I have to. I love you too. And you're not leaving the organization because of me. You're transitioning it because it's the right thing to do, because you want to build something better. Do it for that. Do it for us. But don't do it from fear. He took you right off the street. You could have died. But I didn't. You saved me. And now we learn from this, get better security, make better choices. But we don't let fear win. We're stronger than that. He kissed her hands, her face, her lips. How are you so brave? Because I've already lost everything once. I've already rebuilt from nothing. This, she gestured at herself, at him, at their situation, this is worth fighting for. You're worth fighting for. I don't deserve you. Stop saying that and just love me. That's all I need. That I can do. That I will do. Every day for the rest of my life, if you'll let me. 6 months later, Jaewon's organization had fully transitioned to legitimate business. He'd taken significant financial hits making it happen, cutting ties with anyone who wouldn't go clean, divesting from questionable operations. But he'd done it, was doing it, building something new. Oluchi had quit being his housekeeper and accepted a position as operations manager for his new legitimate corporation. She was good at it, her business degree and sharp mind perfectly suited to the role. They worked together during the day and went home together at night to an apartment they'd bought together in a building far from the penthouse that held too many complicated memories. On the anniversary of the night she tried to go to Amara's party, the night everything changed, Jaewon took her back to that first restaurant where they'd had their first real date. Full circle, he said, holding her hand across the table. A year ago, I nearly lost you before I even had you, nearly let you walk out that door because I was too proud to admit I wanted you to stay. A year ago, I was still hiding, still scared, still thinking I had to be invisible to be safe. She kissed him, hard and desperate. Take us year. Take you year I was still hiding, still scared, still thinking I had to be invisible to be safe. She kissed him, hard and desperate. You taught me I could be seen, could be vulnerable, could love again without it destroying me. You taught me I could be more than my father's legacy, could choose a different path, could build something worth being proud of. He took a breath, which brings me to something I need to ask you. He pulled out a ring box and Oluchi's breath caught. Oluchi Namdi, you walked into my life pretending to be someone you weren't, hiding all your brilliance and strength behind cleaning supplies and professional distance. But I saw you anyway, couldn't help but see you. And once I really saw you, the real you, I couldn't look away. He opened the box. The ring was stunning. Nigerian emeralds and Korean diamonds merged into something uniquely theirs. You saved me, not from danger or rivals or business problems. You saved me from myself, from becoming my father, from thinking power and fear were all I could have. You showed me love was possible, was worth the risk, was worth everything. He got down on one knee right there in the restaurant, just like that first night. Marry me, build a life with me. Let me spend every day proving that you made the right choice when you walked through that door in a blue dress and made me forget how to be cold. Please, Oluchi, marry me. She was crying, laughing, nodding before he even finished. Yes, yes, of course, yes. I love you. I choose you. Every day I choose you. He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her, while the entire restaurant burst into applause. When they finally broke apart, both were grinning like idiots. You know what this means, right? Oluchi said. You're going to have to come to Lagos and meet my family, face my mother, get interrogated by my siblings. I faced down rival gangs. Your family can't be worse than that. You haven't met my mother. She's terrifying. Then I'll be extra polite and respectful and hope she doesn't hate me. She won't. She'll love you because you love me, because you make me happy, because you see me. She kissed him again. That's all she ever wanted from me. To be seen, to be loved, to be safe. I'll keep you safe. Always. That's my promise. They were married 6 months later, in a ceremony that blended Nigerian and Korean traditions. Oluchi wore traditional Nigerian attire and a hanbok, changing between the two ceremonies. Jaewon wore both as well, looking slightly overwhelmed but determined. Her family flew in from Lagos. Her mother, her siblings, aunts and uncles and cousins who all wanted to meet the Korean man who'd won Oluchi's heart. Jaewon's remaining business associates came, along with his mother, who wept through the entire ceremony. My son was so cold, so hard, like his father. I thought I'd lost him to that life. But you brought him back, made him human again. Thank you. He was always human. He just needed someone to see it. And you saw him just like he saw you. 3 years later, Oluchi stood in her office at Kane Corporation, the fully legitimate business that had grown from Jaewon's crime empire. She was COO now, overseeing operations across Seoul. Her business degree had finally found its purpose. Their daughter, Chioma, good God, in Igbo, was 2 years old and the light of both their lives. She had Oluchi's eyes and Jaewon's determination, and she was already showing signs of having both parents' stubborn streak. Jaewon entered the office with Chioma on his hip, the little girl laughing as he made silly faces. "Your daughter," he said to Oluchi, "has decided that nap time is negotiable. My daughter, she's your daughter when she's being stubborn. She gets that from you. She gets that from both of us, and we both know it." He kissed her over Chioma's head. "Remember when you tried to sneak out to a party in a blue dress? Remember where I stood in the hallway looking jealous and angry and couldn't figure out how to tell you I loved you? Best awkward confrontation of my life. Mine too. Though I do wonder sometimes, what if I'd just gone to that party? What if I'd left? Then I would have spent the entire night worried about you, would have shown up at the club like a jealous idiot, would have found some other dramatic way to tell you I couldn't stand the thought of you with anyone else." He wrapped his arms around them both. "We were inevitable, Oluchi. One way or another, we would have found our way here." "You think so?" "I know so, because you saw me and I saw you. That kind of recognition, that kind of connection, it doesn't just go away because of bad timing or complicated circumstances. It finds a way." Chioma squirmed between them, demanding attention. They laughed and separated, tag-teaming to keep their energetic toddler entertained. Later, after Chioma was finally asleep and they were curled together on the couch, Oluchi thought about that night 3 years ago, about the dress, the anger in his voice, the fear in her chest. The moment everything changed. "Hey," she said softly, "thank you." "For what?" "For seeing me, for not letting me stay invisible, for being angry that I was leaving." She kissed him gently. "For loving me enough to risk telling me. Thank you for staying, for giving me a chance, for being brave when I was terrified," pulling her closer, "for wearing that blue dress and reminding me I was still capable of feeling something other than cold calculation. I still have that dress, you know. I know, I've seen it in our closet. Do you want me to wear it again sometime? Only if you promise not to try to leave while wearing it. My heart can't take that again." She laughed, the sound filling their home with warmth. "Deal. Though, for the record, I'm never leaving. You're stuck with me." Best sentence I've heard all day. They sat there in comfortable silence, two people who'd found each other against all odds.